thedailymass.com. Experience the Roman Catholic Mass from historic St. Louis Cathedral every day on thedailymass.com. His love, anywhere in the world.
Good evening, I'm Sarah McDonald.
And I'm Jason Angelette. Welcome to Issues Faith, and we're here and at the Second Harvest Food Bank. This is the kitchen, beautiful facility here on Edwards Avenue in Harahan, and just a wonderful opportunity to kind of highlight what's happening right now at Second Harvest Food Bank.
That's right, we wanted to take this opportunity as we are a week out from Thanksgiving, and the show's also going to air on Thanksgiving night, to really talk about the issue of hunger and how Second Harvest Food Bank is addressing that issue, not only here in New Orleans, but throughout the state of Louisiana. It's an extraordinary way to help.
And we've had them in the studio before, different things, the duck derby and things like that, and this is just so important that we highlight what's going on right now. There's a great need for the help, and this time of the year people are a little bit more aware of what's happening for hunger, and so hopefully we'll be able to get the viewers inspired and want them to contribute and help them.
That's right, contribute, volunteer. You know, we're here in the studio kitchen right now, so we have this awesome backdrop behind us. Right next door to us is the working kitchen, the community kitchen, so as we're filming, if you hear lots of bangs, pots, clangs, that's what it is. Because people are kicking on. People are working, and that's what makes a difference for our community. So we're really excited to be here, excited to bring some attention to the issue of hunger, and hopefully inspire people to give to Second Harvest to help feed the hungry through parish food banks. So much now through the holidays, but throughout the year.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that before too. Like when it's summertime, that's just we don't think about the food need crisis, the situation that's going on at that time, and then it is because a lot of kids are not going to school at that time, and so then there's that need for food because they're used to the school food. Well, here we are, Thanksgiving, and there's a lot of situations that are happening right now where they need that help, when we're here to help them.
That's right, and so today we're going to be talking to President and CEO, touring the community kitchen, and of course, in true Issues in Faith fashion, we're going to get a food demo for a healthy Thanksgiving recipe.
Yes. Sometimes we think about the food in Thanksgiving, we think about getting stuffed to the gill, but we need to remember that there's a healthy way of enjoying the Thanksgiving holidays.
That's right, and that might be actually the more Christian way to approach Thanksgiving. And we'll be right back with more on Issues in Faith.
We're local and enlightening. WLAE, New Orleans Public Television.
Welcome back to Issues in Faith. I'm joined with Natalie J. Rowe, the President and CEO of Second Harvest Food Bank, and we're here on location on Edwards Avenue.
Yes.
And so tell us about a little background of Second Harvest Food Bank. When was it started?
So first, thank you all for coming out to where it all happens here at Second Harvest in Harahan. And Second Harvest was founded back in 1982 by Archbishop Hannon, along with Bishop Morin and Ben Johnson, and it actually joined with another group in the organization or in the community called Food Bank for Emergencies. So it really was an effort led by the Archdiocese, but a community-wide coming together of people who wanted to address the issue of hunger.
And so again, the specific mission, you would say obviously is to feed the hunger, but what are y'all able to accomplish?
So we lead the fight against hunger in South Louisiana by providing food access and ensuring food security. We do advocacy, education, and disaster response. We serve 23 parishes of South Louisiana, so all the way from the Mississippi to the Texas borders. We know that there are about 300,000 plus people in these 23 parishes at risk for hunger every single day. And our job is to see what we can do to fill that meal gap by distributing more than 20 million meals a year.
Fantastic. So with the holiday season coming in almost in full gear, we've got Thanksgiving is around the corner, and here it is, and we have the Christmas holidays. How is the demand, how are you going to be able to meet that demand?
So the demand really doesn't change. You know, people are at risk for hunger every single day, and Second Harvest is at work 365 days a year. But obviously during this part of the year, people are really aware of the blessings that they have, and they're giving back. So this is the time of year where we really raise a lot of the resources that help us feed people throughout the entire year.
How does that compound with the SNAP program? Tell us what's going on with that.
Well, we're very, very concerned about the SNAP cuts that just went into effect November 1st and about the cuts that are being contemplated for the future. So the state of Louisiana lost 41 million meals on November the 1st when the SNAP cuts went into effect. And that would be the same as our entire food bank just stopping overnight, stopping distributing meals overnight. In the South Louisiana area that we serve, that's 21 million meals. That's more than we distribute, on an annual basis. And it's just not possible for food banks to make up that gap. So ultimately, people are going to be hungrier this holiday season and beyond.
Well, tell us about some maybe special holiday program to meet some of these needs.
Well, there are a whole lot of ways that you can help Second Harvest again year-round. We really focus a lot on providing some hot meals and joining with other entities that are doing the best that they can to ensure that the holiday season is somewhat special. So we're working with Sheriff Norman for the Thanksgiving boxes that will go out to 1,800 people. Here in the kitchen, we're going to do 1,750 meals for seniors, hot meals that we're going to deliver to several Christopher Homes sites. We'll be working with the Council on Aging to do some flash frozen meals, closer to the Christmas period. We're doubling up on the backpack programs. That's the program that we provide to kids at the end of each school week to give them nutritious kid-friendly food to eat over the weekend. And we're doubling up so that they'll have some food at home over the holiday season. So there are many, many things. And then, of course, the wonderful, wonderful food drives. That's something that happens a lot at this time of year. I believe that the schools of the Archdiocese are going to be collaborating with Winn-Dixie and the Saints on doing some food drives for us. We're extremely grateful. Food drives bring in about 500,000 pounds of food a year for Second Harvest, a lot of that during this holiday season, and that's great food, usually high protein, non-perishable foods, stews and soups and things that families can really use.
So Natalie, tell me, why is it important for Second Harvest Food Bank to be able to be involved in policy issues?
So Second Harvest exists because the community came together, because private individuals, corporations came together and decided that it wasn't a good thing for people to go hungry and wanted to do something about that.
Sure.
So we get to see the generosity of people every day. What I really believe is the spirit of our community, people helping each other, ensuring that we make sure that no child goes to school hungry or no senior citizen is choosing between food and medicine. And we really need to speak up because that moral conversation really should be more a part of our political discourse. I think what we get to experience every day should be more the conversation that we make as a community and as a country about what's important to us.
I agree. Well, what about, now how can people help out? Like specifically, viewers watching the show right now, how can they help Second Harvest Food Bank?
So Second Harvest depends completely on the community. The vast majority of the resources we have, food, funds, volunteers, comes from the community at large. More than 60,000 volunteer hours come through Second Harvest every single year, whether it's the volunteers that are in our kitchen every single day or the folks that join us when we glean, as we did down in Plaquemines Parish last week, or help us go through the food that we have in our repack area. I sometimes think that the reason this community is aware of Second Harvest is because every school child in this community comes to Second Harvest at some point or another and helps us with our mission. So certainly the volunteers are important. We have a new online community that we're very excited about. So if you text FEED to 80088, you can make a $10 donation to Second Harvest. But maybe as important, you can be connected to a community where you can get updates on things like the SNAP cuts or special events that may be coming up and other ways that you can help us make sure that everyone in our community has enough to eat. So food, funds, volunteers, of course the food drives, as we mentioned, is a great way to help Second Harvest in this holiday season.
When someone gives just $1, how much of that dollar goes to actually feeding the people?
We're extremely efficient. So we have less than 6% of all of our dollars and all the food resources that come to us get spent on anything other, on administration. Everything else is program. So 94% of everything that comes to us goes directly into a program. And for every $10 that you give to Second Harvest, we can provide 28 meals for people in need.
That's fantastic. Well, what are some like creative ways that you've seen over the years too that people have given to Second Harvest Food Bank that has been able to be successful in helping people out in the community?
Well, we have 60,000 people in our donor database, if you want to call it that, or 60,000 people that we know give to Second Harvest at one time or another. And you know, some of those donations are so heartwarming, like a child that pulls out 11 cents and we could tell him that provides half a meal for someone in need.
Wow,
so
yes.
it's everything from that. We have so many people that may give us $5 or $10. I have a person who sends me a couple of $1 bills in an envelope with no return address, so I can't thank them. But I'm so grateful because I know that probably for that person, this really is, they're making a sacrifice to help someone else. And that's one of the most rewarding parts of my job, is that I get to see the generous side of people every single day. A lot of suffering too, a lot of hungry people, 1 in 6 in the state of Louisiana. And I know it's hard for people to think about the fact that we have such an issue with hunger in our state and community.
Well, I'm curious to know too about the volunteers of Second Harvest Food Bank, and how does that impact them as they come here to just think that they're giving something to somebody, but do they get something out of that?
There are so many volunteer stories that we could tell. First of all, I think that part of the reason people donate to us the way they do is that their children come here. So they're coming here, they're learning about the issue of hunger, they're making a difference, they're going home, they're talking to their family about it. We have retired bank presidents, we have people who've spent a whole life working, have retired and then decided they want to do some volunteer work, and they come to our kitchen 2 or 3 times, you know, a week to help us prepare meals. And we're doing upwards of 10,000 meals a month that go out to children in after-school programs and senior citizens. We had a really fun time around the Super Bowl coming here when we had companies with a mission. We had volunteer groups that came through here and made videos of their experience and why it meant so much to them. And this was everything from homeschool groups to corporations, and then they competed with each other, and the Drew Brees Foundation and companies with a mission gave gifts out based on these videos. And Second Harvest was actually the top recipient of funds. We received almost $100,000. And all of that is because of the passion of the groups and the volunteers that spend time with us every day. I mean, again, I really feel fortunate to be here because I get to see that people actually volunteering their time and giving of themselves beyond work every day, beyond what they have to, out of their belief that they
I
can
think
help
it's so important.
else.
You mentioned how the kids come through. I mean, how if let's say if someone's a teacher or a parent and they've got their children in school, they're responsible for children. How can they come find out ways to tour and to help out, to volunteer? What can they do?
Well, they can go to our website, no-hunger.org. We have a system in our website that allows you to actually sign up for volunteer shifts. Again, if you text FEED to 80088, you will be asked to join an online community, and volunteer opportunities will be made available to you.
So they'll let you know whenever something's needed at that point.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic.
There are lots of ways we get the word out. Of course, for special events like Harvest the Music, and which is a concert series we do in the fall, and Rubber Duck Derby, which will come up with the Bayou Bugaloo Festival and Burgers, Bourbon, and Beer. By attending those and having a great time, you're also supporting Second Harvest. So we do the best we can with our media partners to get that word out, and that's another way you can really help us fight hunger.
What's amazing is that, you know, Second Harvest Food Bank not only helps people Thanksgiving, Christmas, but year-round, during the summer, during tragic you know, hurricanes, natural disasters, things like that. You're there helping people to get the food that they need, and we want to thank you for all that you do and for your ministry, and please keep going forward in what you do.
Well, it's a great privilege to do this work.
Well, thanks, Natalie. And we'll be right back with Issues in Faith.
The heart of Woman's New Life Center is its outreach to women in unplanned pregnancies, especially those who are seeking an abortion. Our professional counseling services, combined with free ultrasound tests, provide each woman with the nurturing she needs, while also revealing her unborn child to her. For more information about the life-saving work of Woman's New Life Center, call 504-831-3117 or visit womansnewlife.com.
And we're here in the community kitchen at Second Harvest Food Bank. I'm joined by Tanya O'Reilly, who's one of the program managers and coordinators of all of the activity that goes on in the community kitchen. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you for having us.
Well, first of all, talk to us a little bit about the origins of the community kitchen, which is a working kitchen, so you're going to hear bumps and fans and beeps all over the place.
It's definitely a working kitchen. The kitchen opened June 2011, 3 days right before our large summer feeding program started. So we're at a little over 2 years in the kitchen. Out of the kitchen, we do a large, as I said, summer feeding program where we feed. This past summer, 2013, we fed close to 4,000 children a day at 63 sites all over the Orleans and Jefferson metro area, at community centers, churches, schools, wherever children congregated during the summer. We provided them with hot, nutritious breakfast and lunch every day.
And that's so important. People don't realize a lot of our children who are living right at that poverty level get fed through their schools, breakfast and lunch every day, and some even go home with a meal.
Right.
So during the summer, there's a severe lack of food, and so we need to make sure we're covering those issues and making those children not be hungry.
What are these children eating during the summer? Or we also do an after-school feeding program, which we started in January 2012 with 9 sites, and this academic school year we have 27 sites so far, and we are looking to expand. So it's the same idea as summer feeding, but we just provide the meals for after school. Where are these kids going after the school day is over? Again, community centers, churches, some in their school after program, after hours program. So it's the same idea. Hot, nutritious meals are prepared daily by our, we have 2 chefs on staff to prepare the meals daily, and then those meals go out, from 3 p.m. to maybe even 7 or 8 at night.
And that's such an important point. A lot of people understand Second Harvest Food Bank, you can give the canned goods and non-perishable foods, but they don't realize that Second Harvest has this working kitchen that feeds people every day, and you need volunteers for that as well.
We rely heavily on volunteers. As I said, we have 2 chefs on staff. We have a director of the community kitchen who's also a trained chef, but most of our shifts are run on volunteers. We have 2 different shifts, for after school feeding. Volunteers come from 9 to noon, and then volunteers come back in the afternoon for the plate up, a whole assembly line. When we prepare the meals, they go through this little machine called the Oliver machine where they're sealed up in little trays, then into the warmers. We rely on probably 30 volunteers a day just for this program alone.
It's a big undertaking.
It's a huge operation.
It's a huge operation, but it makes such a difference
It does.
in the community. We have a lot of talk about violence in the community, lack of education in the community. A lot of that stems from people's basic needs not being met. And so being able to feed children, feed seniors, it's another important program that you're doing.
Yes.
You can alleviate some of those issues in the community.
Right, and part of my job, I call it, I get to be in the trenches. I get to go to these sites and see these kids. And it's, we are making such a big difference. Most of the time, I would say more often than not, this is the only meal these kids are getting in the evening.
And it makes a difference for parents too.
It does.
To know that they can send their child to school or to the community center, their Head Start
One
center.
less thing they have to worry about.
Right, and know they're getting not just food, but a really good, nutritious meal, which again is another issue in community health care and keeping people healthy. This is addressing that. So people don't understand the impact that Second Harvest Food Bank can have through the regular food bank programs, through the community kitchen, in really aiding the community and fixing some of our biggest issues.
Right, and all of our meals meet USDA meal pattern requirements and Department of Ed, all of their rules and regulations, so everything is, fresh vegetables, like they're preparing today, fresh fish.
I was going to say, you can
wheat
smell
rolls,
in a good way the
brown
fresh fish.
rice, brown rice, wheat rolls, everything, we're not serving hot dogs and french fries and chicken nuggets. Everything is very nutritious. And then I also find just being at the sites, the kids are willing to try it.
Yeah.
Some of these children have never tried broccoli or asparagus, and they're all willing to try it. And so that's, we have a little nutrition education component as well.
Thank you so much for talking with me today and for explaining a little bit about what goes on here in Second Harvest Community Kitchen.
Okay.
And we'll be right back.
You're watching WLAE, New Orleans Public Television. Find us on Cox Channel 14, Charter Channel 11 and 711, AT&T Channel 32 and 1032, Dish TV, Direct TV, and over-the-air broadcast on Channel 32.
Welcome back. We're in the studio kitchen at Second Harvest Food Bank. I'm joined by Chef Gina Melita, who's the community kitchen manager, and she's going to be making a tasty Thanksgiving dessert. And what are you going to be making for us today?
Today I'm going to make a pumpkin mousse. It's not a complicated mousse to make. It's very, very simple. You can make it from grocery store ingredients that you can find every day. I'm using some ingredients that you could lighten up a little bit. I'm using heavy whipping cream. You could easily use a fat-free dessert topping or sugar-free. All these options are available.
Which is great, because Second Harvest Food Bank is all about not just feeding, but healthy feeding and healthy eating.
Both of our children and our senior programs.
Very good. Well, let's get started.
Okay, very good. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mix together some of the pumpkin. It's a regular pumpkin
pie filling.
Right? It's not pre-seasoned yet at all. All right, I'm going to take a half a cup of this.
Yeah, and if you need me to do like any sort of assistance, I can be useful in the kitchen.
Okay, I'm good
periodically.
All right, I'm going to take a nice half a cup of that, put it in a bowl.
Pumpkin pie filling is such a staple for Thanksgiving, and you can use it in so many ways without making it pie.
Exactly, lots of different options that you can use for that. That's fine right there. And to this I'm going to add some spices. These are already mixed together. I've got 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of ground ginger, and I've got 1/8 of a teaspoon of allspice. Allspice can be a little bit strong, so if you add too much of it, it can really overpower, and you don't want to do that.
Sure.
Okay, so mix that together and set that aside for a moment. I've also got some cold evaporated milk here. This is already measured to 1.5 cups.
Okay. And that's another really easy, inexpensive thing to find in
Absolutely, you can find it all over the place. You can even just leave it on your shelf for a couple of months until you need it. And with this, I'm going to mix together 1/2 of a box of butterscotch instant pudding.
Very holiday flavors here.
Very
what you
holiday.
think of as Thanksgiving, Christmas, December, keeping you warm. These are all those kinds of flavors.
Absolutely.
And again, this is something that if you're not a cook, not a chef like you.
Not classically trained, and you don't want to spend 4 hours trying to make a chocolate mousse that you're worried is not going to come out.
This is a dessert you can contribute.
Exactly.
That's really amazing.
But it brings together those nice warm holiday flavors in a way that not everybody's expecting.
And I like that you can adjust things a little bit, get your seasonings that you like. You know, I was mentioning while we were prepping that I like cinnamon a lot.
Exactly. Now, right here, this is going to need to sit for about 2 minutes or so, 2 to 3 minutes in order to set up. And in the meantime, I've got some heavy cream here. Now I'm going to use 1/2 of a cup of heavy cream. Like I mentioned before, you can also use a pre-made dessert topping, either fat-free, sugar-free, or just plain regular. But the key is a cold bowl whenever you're going to hand whip heavy cream.
Yeah, when I saw that you were going to hand whip it, I was impressed because I know I take my KitchenAid out to whip whipping cream.
And I'm going to add some sugar to this now. I like to do about 1 tablespoon of sugar to the 1/2 of a cup. You can reduce that if you don't want it quite as sweet, or you can increase it if you'd like it a little bit sweeter if you have a sweet tooth.
Very good. And are there other flavors you can add into the whipping cream as you're whipping, or does that affect?
You can add vanilla if you're really interested in it, maybe even a little bit of brandy extract or something like that to change the flavor.
Okay. Yeah, again, I'm always amazed by people who can do this by hand. I'm the lazy chef.
Well, this works out well because I have to wait for the pudding to set up anyway. So instead of standing here being impatient, I could just keep whipping.
And this is also a dessert that kids seem like they would enjoy.
Absolutely.
It's an easy thing to eat. It's an easy thing for them to help with as well.
Absolutely. I actually tested it out on my kids last night.
There you go.
Raves all the way around.
Good deal. And you're using butterscotch pudding. You could use vanilla pudding.
You could use vanilla. You could use banana pudding. Any flavor that you enjoy.
Very good. This is miraculous to me. Maybe my wrist just doesn't work that way.
Well, whenever you want to whip heavy cream, you always have to make sure that at the end that it looks more like sour cream than cottage cheese.
Got it.
If it gets to cottage cheese stage, you've gone a little too far, and it may taste kind of oily.
Right, because you're not going to be topping it with this. You're going to be actually folding it in.
Well, I fold some of it in and some I save for the topping.
Okay.
But that you can always whisk a little more if you need to.
Awesome.
All right, that just about does it. Okay.
Sounds of a
And
kitchen.
you can see here, it's got a nice and thick.
Very good.
Okay. And yes, you can use either an electric mixer or a KitchenAid for this as well. But
Like
I
you said,
figured
you
while
have the
I
time.
was waiting.
You have the time.
Still setting up a little bit.
And you can make this ahead of time, or you can make it day of.
Yes, absolutely. You can make it day of or ahead of time. Ahead of time is really nice though, because you have a chance to get some of that prep work done, and then you don't have to think about it while you're finishing up the details of everything else.
Right, and if you were going to be bringing this to mom's house or something like that for Thanksgiving, you can bring it in the bowl already set up and then plate it there.
And then assemble it there.
Or top your pie with it.
Or top your pie with it. Mix this all together, and this you can just stir.
And you see, lots of times when we're cooking on the show, we're cooking with heat and you can smell things. Now I can smell this.
Now you can smell
now
the
it
spices
smells
coming
like
out.
Thanksgiving.
All right. I'm going to take about half of this whipping cream and fold it in. Now when we fold something, the whole idea behind folding is that all that air that I just incorporated into that cream, you don't want to lose it. You want to keep that volume nice and high. So I like to use a combination of first of a wire whisk
Okay.
in order to kind of really incorporate it, and then to smooth it out so you don't have all those swirls, so it's nice and even.
Okay.
I go back with my rubber spatula and really get down into the bottom
Keep
of
that air, it keeps it so nice and light.
Light, exactly.
Wow. Again, it's really starting to smell like Thanksgiving, like Christmas, or just a nice Friday night at home.
Yeah, why not, right?
You can pull this
So
together.
what is that? There's always time for a pudding
There's always time for a pudding.
or mousse.
Oh yeah, I think that's great. And that's actually what makes the difference between pudding and mousse, right? Is the incorporation of the
It
whipping
really
cream.
is. It's the incorporation of the whipping cream.
And I like how you, the plating option that you've selected for us today.
Wine glasses.
Yeah, I think that
See
makes
that?
it fun.
Go ahead and get this out of the way.
Sure.
And you can spoon it directly into whatever you're going to serve it in, whether it's a bowl or a glass. This makes about 4 portions, approximately.
Yeah, bowl or glass, for those of us that registered for really awesome wine glasses and martini glasses and then had kids, you can use those.
You can use
You can
those.
use those for dessert now.
Exactly. You want to take a nice big spoon and spoon it in. Try not to get any on the edges so it looks nice and neat. And this will continue to set up a little firmer as it sits in the refrigerator.
I was gonna say, put them in the refrigerator after they're done.
Absolutely.
And again, that's another great reason to do it ahead of time and then bring it to, you can have it all set up, ready to go, and then go straight into plating. And the more I think about it, the more I'm excited about the idea of some of that on apple pie. I know
would
it
be
seems
good.
like flavors, but I think I
the
like
flavors
that.
would be really good. It'd be nice texture difference as well.
And a little bit maybe healthier for you than adding ice cream.
True.
Not that I think Thanksgiving should be all about healthy, but it's always good to keep that in mind.
It is good, especially when you have certain guests that may have diabetes or just be watching their weight. You want to give them an option as well. If you have the opportunity, buy yourself a piping bag. Otherwise,
They're not too expensive and they're easy to
Ziploc
get.
bags, they do the trick as well.
It wouldn't be Thanksgiving in the kitchen without a little bit of a mess, Chef. You've
Gotta
been
have a
so
mess.
neat. You've been so neat. I've been amazed.
Well, thank you. Okay, and it doesn't have to be very involved, just a nice little rose
Yummy.
right on top.
Just a little extra sweetness and
little
make it
extra
pretty
sweetness
because
and make it pretty.
it's
Exactly.
Thanksgiving and this is all about celebrating family and faith and all of our blessings.
And there you go, there's pumpkin mousse. And to see it all set up, I have one in here.
Awesome. Oh, see that?
Already
even looks
finished
better.
with a little cinnamon on the top. Pumpkin mousse.
Thank you for the work that you do here at Second Harvest Food Bank and for sharing this recipe.
Well, thank you very much for coming and drawing attention to a really, really worthy program. And I hope you enjoy your Thanksgiving.
You too. Happy Thanksgiving. And we'll be right back.
We're local and educational. WLAE, New Orleans Public Television.
If you have a question for us or an idea that you'd like to see on air, please write to us at Issues in Faith, 3330 North Causeway Boulevard, Suite 345, Metairie, Louisiana, 70002. Or you can email us at questions@WLAE.com. Plus, if you missed an episode, you can catch up online at www.archdiocese-no.org.
And that's our program for this evening. For all of us at Issues in Faith, thanks for watching and have a happy Thanksgiving.
We'll be back next week. Hope you join us again soon. Until then, God bless.